Care to share how many millions you've touched at this point?
1 million, to be exact.
And do you remember what age you were when you reached that million?
I was um I was about to turn. I was 25. I was 25. Yeah,
And for
about to turn
those,
20.
didn't mean to cut you off, go ahead.
No, you could go ahead. You could go ahead.
And for those in the audience getting to know you for the very first time here,
Hmm.
care to share how you did that? How did you earn your first million?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna take it back a little bit. When I lost my 9 to 5, I was a security officer for many years. I was a security officer, um, working there. It was bringing in the money that I needed to bring in, so I was stacking up my money. I was stacking up my money because I knew that working a 9 to 5 was not for me. So I used to save up my money from those checks just so I could be able to, be so I could be good. And so when I do stop working, or if I do get fired, because you never, with the 9 to 5, you never know when you're going to walk into that job and they say, "Hey, you're fired." So at a young, I've studied. I mean, I've saved up for that. And when that day came, I came to work. I was, it was that day. I knew that wasn't for me. So I started studying, becoming a makeup artist. So that's where it started. I started studying makeup for a year straight, and I started practicing on my sister's face. I have 5 sisters. I started practicing on them, and then I went into other things like selling luxury baskets, um, and a couple more things. I was I was dibbling and dabbling in a little bit of everything, but I was consistent and I was determined to, set these goals. I had my goals set. I had that all. I was doing so much stuff. I'm the owner of a clothing line, makeup artist, luxury baskets. I was putting in so much work. It was crazy. So that's what led me to become that. I was putting in so much work, working every day, saving up money. Like I was like, oh my gosh. I couldn't believe it myself. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I looked up, one safe is filled. Had to buy another safe. Filling up, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like that's what led me to that.
Now, let's break that down a little bit further.
Mhm.
You mentioned a variety of different avenues
Mhm.
of earning money and collecting money,
Mhm.
from like the luxury baskets to the makeup and things of that nature.
Mhm.
What drew in the most out of all those elements for you, though? What was the most profitable out of all those different avenues for you?
Mm, it was it was the one I did not mention. I don't know if I could say it on I don't know if I could say it on camera, but of those of those three there, I would say I don't know. They all were like hand in. It was I can't say of those three, but the one that I did not mention on the camera
Got it.
was it played a major role as well.
Okay, got it.
Hmm.
Well, what does that feel like to earn $1 million?
Honestly, the feeling is great, but guess the downside about it was that it did not make it did not change me. It didn't change me. It really like I remained the same person. Like it was like it felt good, okay, but it's like what's next? I need more. It's like okay, what's next? It just felt like the same money. I don't know why, but I didn't look at it like, oh yeah, like this is it. It was not that. It was like I need more. Like I need. You know what I'm saying? The feeling is great. I'm blessed. I was blessed to have reached that milestone and do the things that I was able to do. But it really, when I sat down and thought about it, I was like, what's next? Like, I need more. This, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, you don't just stop here. Now you gotta do some, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Was it an addictive feeling?
Uh, was it a
Was it an addictive feeling?
Yeah, yeah, for the most part. For the most part, yeah. Hmm.
Now, some people dream about becoming a millionaire, and some actually get the opportunity to live that dream.
Hmm.
Does that surprise you at all, reaching that financial point?
It does. It does because it does, man. I worked so hard for many years, but I left my I was out of a 9 to 5 for about 5 years. For about 5 years, straight hustle, straight hustle, straight hustle. I never gave up. It was just like I surprised myself at a lot of things I could do and get done. But I've always had God by my side throughout this whole process and journey. So with God being by my side, that was another reason why I was able to get to these levels and reach these peaks because I know I wouldn't have been able to do this by myself. But it was my drive, my mentality. I kept it going. You know what I'm saying? So
And just want to get some further clarification here because you mentioned fired, but then you mentioned left the job. So, just for, again, clarification, were you actually fired? Did you quit? What
yeah,
happened with that security job?
I definitely got fired. I definitely got fired, man. The managers there, they couldn't take me. Like I was I was a hard worker. First of all, I was a hard worker. Once I got into like my jobs, I would move up quickly. I would move up like they would try to promote me to the next, because I would be at my job so much, doing putting in overtime like crazy. Like I was in there, like, but it was like I had a lot of jealous. It was a lot of envious going on with the managers and stuff like that. And I'm just like, they was making it was crazy, but I ended up getting fired. I ended up getting fired, and when I got collecting my unemployment, and was still had some of my money saved up that was able to get me to, be able to invest in my makeup kits and all of the stuff that I needed to invest in.
And what were you technically fired for? What was their reasoning at the time?
Mm, the reasoning I was fired, I believe something happened on a job. I believe I don't know. It was an incident or something, and I was the security there at the time. I was, I don't know. Honestly, it was so long ago. So long ago, but that I was the security on shift when whatever incident supposed to happen or whatever. But
And what was that job really like, all those years of doing that?
I love the security job I had was probably the best job I had of all the jobs that I worked because that was the one I was making the most money. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was easy. It was, security. I was securing stuff.
And what was the pay like back then?
The pay in Chicago, the pay was about $14 to $15 an hour. Yeah. Hmm.
And this all took place before the music side of things, or were you doing music at the same time, or you were already involved in music prior to this job?
I've been involved in the arts field, music, the arts field since I was 14. My first jobs was me doing performing arts. I've always like Stella means star, and star is French. Stella is French for star. My real name is Star, so that's how I came up with Stella. But yes, I was born a star. So I was always in the arts field, acting, performing arts, music. all of that. So it's in me. It's just something that's been in me. I was doing talent shows in elementary school, um, choreography for the art centers and all of that. So music has been in me. I started doing music at about 14. Um, didn't have my parents was well, we'll talk about that whenever you get to that.
Well, let's talk about it now.
Oh well, my mom died when I was 2, so my mom wasn't here. Um, so my dad, he wasn't able to afford us doing the music at that age and stuff like that. So I said, you know what? Since I can't do what I need to do, well, since you can't provide for us to do this music and whatever, I'll just wait till I get older and I'll be able to fund my own career and do this and do that. And so that's how that went.
Now, you mentioned a variety of arts here. Do you want to give a chronological history on which art started first in your life and so on and so forth? Or
Yeah, it was pretty much. It was the okay. So I started working performing art at the Performing Arts Center, and where we did acting, choreography, and music. All of that we were doing plays and stuff where all of those three things were played a role in everything that I did. But music was definitely number one for me because me and my friend had a little group in elementary school and we would perform at the talent shows. We had a lot, it was crazy, but I've been doing the talent shows and all of that. Everybody knows that I've been doing music. Everybody that knows me knows that I've been doing music since elementary school. Then it was the acting. I love acting. Um, and then it was dance. Um, I was a choreographer at the church and at the Performing Arts Center. So all of that, yeah.
care to share what the group name was back then?
Oh my God, it was KMP. It was because my name was Princess. My name was Princess with 2 Z's, and hers was Kianis. So it was the KMP girls.
And what happened with that group there?
It was just us two. We would just make little raps and then perform them, like in a lunchroom or at the talent shows we had. So yeah, it was. That's pretty much what it was.
But at some point it ended.
Yes. Well, after we graduated, we went to 2 different high schools. So when I went to high school, we went to 2 totally different high schools. So we barely was able to see each other. She started doing what she was doing in high school. I started doing my own thing in high school. But I always did the talent shows with my music.
And what's the current status between you two at this point?
Oh my God. Actually, that was one of my best friends, and she died a few years ago. She died. So, yeah, it was tragic. It was a tragic thing when I found out, but she died.
Prior to her passing, did you remain in contact with her?
Yeah, I was in contact with her.
Now, you mentioned elementary school throughout this conversation. You
Mhm.
mentioned high school graduation. Care to share the names of the schools you attended back then?
I attended for elementary. I attended Amos Alonzo Stagg Elementary School. That's the school I graduated from, and then the high school. It was a few high schools because I got kicked out of one. Okay, I went to DuSable, Bronzeville, also known as DuSable, and then I left there. Um, it was my life growing up was crazy. It was hard. I had some crazy stuff going on in my life. So I was only at that school for my up until my sophomore year at DuSable, and then so I had crazy stuff going on back home where I had to move to Michigan with a family member, And so I went to a school there in Michigan for a few months. And then I ended up coming back to Chicago, and I put myself in alternatives high school. I put myself in that because at this point I'm about 17, 16, 17. I said, I am not going to get a GED. I'm going to get my high school diploma, and I'm not going to wait till it's too late. So I went to an alternative school, and I signed myself up. I did what I needed to do. Signed myself up. I ended up getting kicked out of that school. I was doing so good. I was doing so good. I was a DNF student at my first school because of the stuff that I was going through at home. DNF student. Couldn't focus, couldn't nothing. So I ended up going to the school that I put myself into because I was determined, became an honor roll student at that school and the school after that. I was an honor roll student. I got awards that I never thought that I was going to be able to get. I was doing so much better, all while I was homeless. All while I was homeless, I was going to school. I had a friend that was sneaking me in their house every day just so I could go to school every day. I was homeless at about 16, 17. My friend stayed across the street from the school, which allowed me to be able to go to school every day just because I put myself back in schools just so I could get my high school diploma. And once I got kicked out of that school, I had the biggest fight in that school. Nobody's ever had a fight like the one I had because it was always jealousy, like envy. It was always jealousy followed me everywhere. Even when I really didn't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't one of those girls that would cause problems in school. I would get my money. I was a hustler. I would get my money and go to school, you know what I'm saying, mind my business. But I had one of the biggest fights in that alternative school, got kicked out, and I thought it was over with for me. I said, no, no, no. I'm not going to get my GED. I am going to get my high school diploma. So I found another alternative school. I got out the hood. I left the schools alone in the hood, and I went up north and put myself in school up north, where it's a biracial group, and I wouldn't have to deal with, the stuff I dealt with being in the hood. So went to another alternative school up north in Chicago, and that was the best thing that I could have did. I was, again, an honor roll student doing stuff that I never thought that I had the ability to do. So honor roll student, I was getting awards that I never thought I could get. And I ended up graduating from that school, and that was Truman Middle College. Truman Middle College.
Do you want to name any of these other schools that you mentioned too, like the one in Michigan, the first alternative school you got kicked out, the second, well, you mentioned
The
the
one
second.
in Michigan was Benton Harbor. Benton Harbor High School. Yeah, so the one in Michigan was Benton Harbor High School, and then the one I got kicked out, I can't even remember that one's name. Yeah, I can't remember that one's name for nothing right now.
Now, with the tumultuous upbringing and description that you were facing at home, especially homelessness and things of that nature, how were you able to buckle down and switch things around from being a DNF student with all that going on to honor roll with all that going on? How were you able to make that switch?
Me being a DNF, how was I able to make that switch?
Yes. How were you able to buckle down and get focused on the schooling with all that personal stuff going on around you?
I'm a tough soldier. I'm a tough soldier, and I knew I was one of God's. I know that He's gonna give His toughest battles to His strongest ones. I believed in God since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? And at first, I mean, it was a lot of stuff I went through. It was so like it was a lot going on. I was only able to do this with God by my side because the stuff I went through and being able to go to school every day and Yeah, I was determined. I was determined. I was determined to get, and if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Because there have been other people like you that have faced those personal obstacles
Mhm.
and they do get the GED.
Mhm.
Some quit, never
Yeah.
go back,
Mhm.
and maybe do some other. It could be stuff in the streets, could be
Mhm.
exotic dancing, could be triple X rated stuff, so on
Mhm.
and so forth. Uh, so, asking you because there may be somebody watching or listening to this interview that is going through something similar. Might not be the exact same story,
Mhm.
but might be facing personal obstacles, some of what you described. And it sounds like it's deeper than that. And you're,
It
just
is.
kind of sharing the tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah.
And just, I'm asking this question for those in the audience that are like, man, how did she do that? Because I'm going through something similar.
Man, I was praying. I was praying all the time. I just knew that I wanted something better for myself. Mentally, I couldn't give up. I'm just not a quitter. I couldn't give up on myself. Although, I didn't have much family, you know what I'm saying? But the little family that I did have, my little sisters, I wanted them to see me become something better than what we went through. If none of my other siblings did, and my parents didn't graduate, and they didn't, that was something I was determined to do. My mom or dad never graduated, and they didn't go on prom and wasn't able to experience that. None of my siblings was able to do that, and my mom had 7 kids, so I'm the first. I broke a generational curse. I was just it was something that needed to be done. It was something that I needed to do.
Was that ever a thought for you? You know what? Forget school. I'm going to get into the streets. Or forget school. I'm going to start stripping. Or forget school. I'm going to do XYZ.
No, no, it was never a thought for me. It was never forget school. It was always I'm going to get my high school diploma. And that's the only thing that went through my head at 17 years old. When I knew when I got kicked out and I knew I had another opportunity to go to another school, at first I thought it was over with for me. I thought it was over with. I said, "Oh my gosh, no other school is gonna get me because I got kicked out. I got expelled from this school." I thought that, but nah, that wasn't the case. When you keep trying and you know that you could get something, I went to the next best thing. I said, I'm gonna get out the hood. I'm gonna get out the hood with this one. So imagine me being a girl on the south side, traveling all the way to school up north and being able to go to school every day. That train ride was crazy. Every day you have to wake up early, at like super early, to go to school every day down there. That was It was crazy, but I got it done. I was I'm like this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do.
And then once you get your hands on that diploma, what was that feeling like?
It was it was it was it was a beautiful moment. It was beautiful for me. I finally accomplished something that I really wanted to accomplish. So it was a beautiful moment. I was so happy. I was so happy, but then I was also sad. I was sad because I'm like, it's just like now I'm like what am I gonna do? Like who like nobody's here. I mean, nobody's here to see this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, other than it was crazy, man. It was crazy because I had like my 2 big sisters came and you know it it was just crazy. I was happy. I was happy for the accomplishment, but everybody had like their families there. When you look around and you just see like I'm just like, okay, so
Sounds bittersweet.
yeah, yeah,
But you did walk.
yes, I did.
And when it comes to jealousy, why do you think that follows you? Especially, and not, and saying this respectfully here, okay?
Hmm.
Homeless female facing personal obstacles, trying to get this diploma. Who would be jealous of that?
People who don't know what you're going through. I walked around every day with a smile on my face. They're like, why is she so happy? Like every people used to ask me that. Believe it or not, why is you so happy? Like, why are you happy? I knew how to hide what I was going through. Nobody never would have thought that this girl's in therapy from elementary school on up all her life. Nobody never would have thought I went through all of this and all of that. Nobody never would have thought that. I never cared to share my story. I never wanted to talk about what I was going through for real with peers, with nobody. I just be like, what can you do? What can these people do? Even if I did tell them, I was one of those like, nobody never really knew. I just used to go to school. I mean, go to school and do what I need to do and smile and hide that. And when I go on my little, when I got my alone time and go on my little, I go in my little shell and cry it out and pray. But that's all I could do. So that's why people would be jealous of somebody who's happy. Like a lot of people don't like happy people. And so you walking around happy and people got their own stuff. They don't know how to hide it, and they don't know how they want you to feel how they feel. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody asking me questions. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want people asking me questions and looking at me differently. I'm already going through a lot. I don't want y'all talking about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. So I even still to this day, I hide. I can hide like stuff that I go through.
Now, you mentioned therapy.
Hmm.
So you've had professional help dealing with some of the trauma, possibly, that you endured growing up. Is that something that you still attend to, or is that
Oh,
something?
oh no, oh no. I wouldn't say therapy helped me. Period. That's me personally. I used to ask, what is the point of me talking to you if you're not helping me? Like I was one of those kids that was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to talk to you guys. You guys get paid to, I was like, I to this day I can't tell you one thing a therapist told me that made me just go through life. It was no, I cannot give the credit to nobody but God. That's the only. That's all I talk to. I used to go in those therapy sessions and just be like, get zoned out. Like I didn't want to talk. Like they would just ask these questions, and you know what I'm saying. If I'm going through this at home, y'all not helping me. Y'all not helping me get through what's going on. You know, it was just like I was ready for it to be over every day, every time. Like, what? No, I don't. I can't remember anything a therapist said to me.
How many different professionals have you seen over the years?
So elementary school, we had we had a therapist in elementary school and in high school. It wasn't just elementary school and high school. After that, I never went to say, "Oh, go talk to a therapist." Like I just went through one. And no matter what I went through after elementary school and high school, I never said I'm gonna go. I never went and talked to a professional therapist after that in my adult years. No.
So you've seen two professionals in the past
Yeah, I would say. Hmm.
and felt the same way with both experiences.
Yes, yes. I never wanted. I never like. No, that's me personally, and I might help other people, but me personally, a young kid going through a lot. And I seen like I tried talking to them before, and I see that it didn't do nothing. So I just said, you know what, this is a way. I just use a crash out. This is a waste of my time. I do not want to be here. What are you telling? Like, you're telling me stuff that I already know. I was one of those kids. You're telling me stuff that I already know. I was smart, been smart for a long time, but you know,
Do you look at music as like self-therapy for you?
yep, everything that I did, music, acting, all of that, artistry in me, all of that is therapeutic for me. Mhm, for sure.
What did professionals say about uh, those artistic endeavors for you? Did they encourage that? Did they say, yeah, keep making music? That's definitely going to help you out and things of that nature?
They wasn't talking to me about that. They was talking to me. I don't even know what they was not talking to me about my music. They wasn't talking to me about that. They was talking to me about stuff that's going on at home. No.
When it came to talent shows back then for you, you mentioned that was something you did. Was that just displaying your talent, or was that something you've actually won before at talent shows, like the grand prize or first place, second place? Was that something you placed at, or how did that work back then?
For the talent shows, definitely was first place, second place type of talent shows we had in elementary school and stuff like that. And what was the
The question
question for that?
was it just merely displaying your talent, or was there
It was both.
placement?
It was me. Of course, it was me displaying my talent, but it was also a contest. Hmm.
Because there are some talent shows where there's no placement. It's just you're just displaying your talent. And that's it.
Yeah, we did. They did. They definitely did contests where first place, second place. Me and my friend actually won the one in elementary school. Yeah, because she was the sing like we had. She had the singing side of her, and then I, did the rap. But yeah. Hmm.
How many times have you won at a talent show before?
We won. We won once. Once. Yep, we won once.
And what's the secret there on winning a talent show?
Having talent. Having talent and actually just really, it takes work and practice. So as long as you know what I'm saying, got the talent and you know what to do with it, then it's gonna do what it needs to do.
And you mentioned God here as
Hmm.
well several times during this conversation. Do you follow a religion
I'm
by any
Christian.
chance?
I've been Christian forever.
And was that how you were raised or something you
Yeah,
chose on your own?
that's how I was raised. I was raised in the church.
You did mention that. Was that mother's side of the family, father's side of the family, both?
It was my father's side. Yeah, it was my father. It was my yeah. He used to send us to church. He used to send us to church, and then we just used to go to church all the time by ourselves, you know. So
And does it get any more specific under that religion for you, like a particular branch under Christianity, perhaps?
mm,
Okay, was just curious about that there.
mhm,
Well, wrapping up the questions here just about that job once again, because we kind of diverted into some other elements like music and things of
mhm,
that nature and your path there.
right.
But when it came to that job that you had, have you been back to that establishment since?
Oh no, 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 no. I don't go backwards. I go forward. I move forward. Like with anything, I don't go backwards. I
Why
move
that
forward.
mentality? Because there are some that do.
Mm-mm.
They double back, they
I've tried double back.
spin the block.
No, because we live and we learn. Okay, so it's nothing wrong with trying something, but when you double back, majority of the time, the outcome is not going to be what you expected. Majority of the time. But no, I never thought about going back to a place that let me go. Like, I put in all this work. You know what I'm saying? I put in all this work And, it's one little mistake, whatever it was, you know, no, 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 no. Never had a good outcome going backwards. I always had great outcomes going forward.
So no warning, no write-up, just that one time it was a zero tolerance policy when it came to your job.
Yep. Hey, once you say it's over, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go because at the end of the day, I knew what it was I wanted. I knew that's all I was waiting for. That's all I'm waiting on. That's all I'm waiting on because I need you. I need that to happen so I could be able to do what I need to do. You know. hmm
And that was about 5 years of your life, that job in
That
particular?
yeah, different locations, security job, different locations, about 5 years. So
But
I
same
put in a little bit of time.
same company though.
hmm
Okay.
Same company. Yep.
Do you still keep in contact with any of your bosses or coworkers?
My coworker, not really, but they follow me on my social medias and they see me doing. They're proud of me and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always had like good, good relationships with my coworkers and some of them. But yeah.
And speaking of social media, care to share your screen names on your most prominent platforms at this point, just in case there's some scammy pages of you, some unofficial pages of you, things of that nature?
My name on all of my social medias is Stella Dinero with a zero at the end. Instagram, Stella_Dinero with a zero at the end. Um, Facebook, you could type in Stella Dinero. Star Redmond is going to pop up. TikTok, Stella Dinero with a zero at the end. Everything. Snapchat, everything.
OnlyFans?
Oh, no. Oh, no. No OnlyFans. Nope. No Twitter. I mean, I do got a Twitter, but it's not. I don't be on Twitter. But no, none of that.
Why no OnlyFans for you? There are some content creators, some social media influencers, some models, recording artists that do go that route.
Um, that would be one of my last options because I'm good. I'm in a good space on what I do. Um, but that would be like something that would be like the last resort for me.
Got it. What's your opinion on that platform and those that partake in that, though?
Do what you gotta do. I don't got nothing to say about how nobody get their money. Hey, do what you gotta do. Ain't got nothing to do with me. I choose to do what I need to do. I'd rather not go that route because I just, I just choose not to partake in certain stuff that I like to do. I'm a leader. I'm a leader. So I don't like to follow what everybody else is doing. I like to do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a leader, so I got to stick to that.
And care to share the name of the company you worked for back then?
Securitas. I love them. Thank y'all because without what happened, I wouldn't be who I am today. So they got me that bag. They got me. I was able to save my money and then do what I need to do. No hard feelings. Securitized security company. Hey, thank y'all. I ain't mad at them.
And that was a full-time gig.
Full time. Yes, I don't have kids, so I was able to work all day, every day. I was a workaholic. I was putting in work. Yeah.